Are you considering a move to Los Cabos, Mexico, but the prices are just a little bit too high, or maybe the vibe just isn't Mexico enough for you? Then I think you should check out La Paz, where Kat and I live. In this video, we're going to be checking out a couple of houses in Villas de Centenario, which is just up the hill from where Kat and I live. We're on the beach. This is up the hill in El Centenario, looking out across the Bay of La Paz at the city of La Paz. So let's start out with the drive from Cabo to La Paz. We're going to stop off at some of our favorite places along the way. And then in La Paz, we're going to meet with Jim, who's a real estate broker, the person who sold us our house. And he's going to show us different homes in Villas de Centenario, where prices are about half what you would expect to pay in Cabo. We are going to talk about the differences between Cabo and La Paz and what type of person is attracted to each of them. And we're going to meet with Matt, who's been on the channel before. He lives in Villas de Centenario, and he's going to share his home and tell about why he chose to live there. So that's a lot to squeeze into this video, so let's get going. So let's talk about the road between Cabo and La Paz. If you're going to be traveling back and forth, as we mentioned earlier, the airport in Cabo is a great airport. A lot of people use that airport if they live in La Paz. And there is a shuttle that will take you back and forth for like $35, or you can get a private car for about $200 or so, maybe a little over $200 for a private car.
Or a bus.
Or you can take a bus for even less than that. You can take a bus between the two cities.
And they're nice buses.
Yes, they definitely are. But the roads are really nice. It's most of the way, it's a 4-lane highway almost the entire way, and it's a newer road, so it's in really pretty good shape. Now, Cabo has a bad traffic problem. When you're going between Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, you're going down the corridor, the traffic can be just awful. There is a toll road that runs just north of there, and it runs from the airport over to just north of Cabo San Lucas, and that's the way you would take to get to La Paz, is to start out on that toll road and then get on the main highway. And I want to say the toll is like $6 or something like that, but it's a great way to avoid all that traffic that is part of life in Los Cabos.
And do you avoid that crazy roundabout if you do that?
And you avoid the crazy roundabout.
Oh my God.
In San Jose del Cabo.
Craziest roundabout. And I've driven in Italy and I've driven in Spain, and I can tell you that roundabout in, I don't even know where that was in Cabo.
It's between the airport and San Jose del Cabo.
Oh my God, that was the craziest roundabout I have ever driven in. I mean, I survived it, but it was almost like, I don't know, I had to like be super, super aggressive. I did not like it.
Yes, so traffic in La Paz, way more tranquilo. It's, people sometimes joke that traffic in La Paz is like a bunch of grandmas driving around. So if that's more your style, La Paz might be a good spot for you. If you're into that aggressive type of driving, then maybe Cabo's a little better for you. So the first stop on your way from Cabo to La Paz is always got to be Agricole. And this is just this amazing market / restaurant / garden, farm. So Kat, what did we get here?
So I have to say that Agricole is one of my very, very favorite stops. It is amazing. I've always wanted to get this fresa e crema. It's strawberries and cream. And holy cow, it's good. It is very sweet. So Brighton will love it. Mm-hmm. Because he's so sweet. They are very, very popular here. They're very popular. So this is the first time we've actually gotten one. Yeah, I almost got the tapioca one, but we're going to split this one. And I'm glad we're splitting it. And then one of my favorite reasons to be here is because they make, in my opinion, the best bread in all of Baja. And we come here and we load up on their whole wheat bread and we throw it in our freezer and we just, pull it out as we need it. So how many did we get? I think we got 8 loaves.
Yeah, we got 8 loaves total. The woman actually, when we said it in Spanish, she was like, she had like really? Counted it out on her fingers.
Really? You want 8? And then we were like, yes, we want 8, please. So we got that. It's in a big bag here. And Brighton got a amazing pastry. I don't even know what it is. It's some sort of chocolate pastry. Yeah, they do bread products really well, and they have a lot of specialty items in their store you can't get anywhere else. So this is a must up for us whenever we're in the area.
So, Kat, let's talk about the differences between Cabo and La Paz. So Los Cabos, we're going to group together Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo.
Even though they're very different.
They're very different, yes, but they're both pretty expensive. So we'll start with that. La Paz is much less expensive than Cabo overall in terms of real estate, but also just stuff. So if you're going to go get a coffee or a margarita or a beer in Los Cabos, it's going to cost you more than La Paz. So that's one thing. It's a minor reason. And of course, it is less expensive than similar places in the United States, like California or something like that. So even Cabo is less expensive, but it's more expensive than La Paz because La Paz is more of a local place. It is not so much a tourist destination, especially for overseas tourists. The way I look at La Paz is it is a tourist destination for Mexicans from Mexico City and from Guadalajara, places like that. So more middle and upper class Mexicans do their vacationing in La Paz, and Los Cabos is more of a destination for people from other countries, from the United States, from Canada mainly.
Yeah. So, Cabo's more of a tourist town, more gringo prices, more fast paced. I mean, there's some really cool areas, 100%. And there's still a lot of foreigners that live in Cabo because there's just a lot to do.
Oh, there's a huge amount of foreigners that live in Cabo, either part-time or full-time. It's full of condos. It's full of all-inclusives. It's definitely full of timeshares, things like that. And when you come out in the San Jose del Cabo airport, immediately they're trying to sell you timeshares. So it's so different, just like looking at airports. Let's look at airports real quick. The Cabo airport is huge. Lots and lots of flights. It's really convenient to get to the United States. As soon as you get out, you're immediately being sold really expensive margaritas and timeshares.
Expert tip, do not get drinks at the Cabo airport. You'll spend like $20 for a margarita that in La Paz you can get for $5. In fact, you can get 2 for $5 at a lot of restaurants for $5 US.
And if you need something at the Cabo airport, there is an OXXO outside the airport. That's a real quick walk. So that's an expert tip there.
And
Shop at the
OXXO is just a small convenience store that's ubiquitous around.
Yeah, it's like a 7-Eleven in Mexico.
Yeah.
So the airport's more flights, more chaos. The airport in La Paz is just this cute little airport. It's just
regional.
It's just a little regional airport. There are some international flights.
LA to La Paz now, direct.
Yeah, you can get to LA to La Paz, but most of the flights are going to be domestic, but they're going to be also very affordable, including you can get to Tijuana, which is really convenient for folks in Southern California. Yep.
Easy to cross into the U.S. from Tijuana.
So along with there being so many tourists from the United States and Canada, in Cabo, a lot of people just speak English. You don't need to learn Spanish to live in Cabo. You really don't need to learn Spanish to live in La Paz, but
it's preferable.
Yeah, it's preferable. There's a lot more places
effort.
that don't speak English in La Paz. So it's more of a necessity. Cabo has been developed for foreigners, and so a lot of the locals do speak English. So if you really don't want to learn Spanish, then Cabo might be more of a place for you. But come on, live like a Mexican. The language of this country is Spanish, so learn some.
Just some, right? Like, you don't have to be fluent, for sure. Like, I am not fluent. I have what I think I call survival or travel Spanish. Like, I can order, food, and I can get to the bathroom, and
she can order 8 breads.
I can order 8 breads. So I always make the effort. You make the effort, and then if they switch to English, great, bonus, but I always make the effort.
And also, in Cabo, a lot of places will accept dollars. So you don't even need to use the national currency of Mexico. That's how kind of touristy it is. In La Paz, very seldomly will people accept dollars. And if they do, it's kind of a pain in the butt for them. And also you're going to get a really bad exchange rate. So pesos, that's the national currency. So you're going to want to spend pesos when you're in La Paz. Actually, do it when you're in Cabo too. The locals would appreciate it.
Talk about the ATMs at the airport.
First off, expert tip, if you use an ATM in Mexico, make sure you decline the exchange rate so that your bank sets the exchange rate, not the ATM owner. And second thing is some of the ATMs actually will give you dollars and some of them will give you pesos. So make sure you're using the correct ATM when you go to get your money out.
Yum. Here's another thing. We just got really good kombucha, passion fruit kombucha, Agricole. It is delicious.
The other thing to note is that Cabo is more of an upscale art atmosphere in San Jose del Cabo and more of a party atmosphere in Cabo San Lucas. So La Paz is much more chill, much more tranquilo, just a more family-oriented place, which is something that we really love about it. Even though we don't have kids, just being around
We have
family.
fur babies.
We have fur babies, that's true. Being around families just feels really good to us.
And sorry if I still sound like a frog. I got really sick recently. We actually flew to San Diego for my birthday, which is kind of funny because 5 years ago we flew from San Diego to La Paz for my birthday, and that's when we bought our house. We were no intention of buying in Mexico. We just went on a little real estate tour and we put a offer down on a house a day after we got here. So anyway, kind of interesting. 5 years later, we make the reverse trip for my birthday.
That's true. So beware if you do travel to Mexico, you might just leave with a house.
A nice house, a beach house.
So Agricole is located just outside Todos Santos, Pescadero, Cerritos. And Todos Santos is a great spot if you've got a little bit more time to stop over between Cabo and La Paz on your trip down. It also, from a real estate standpoint, is pretty expensive. It's definitely a more upscale, more artsy town than La Paz. It's fun, but it definitely has a lot of Cabo influence going on.
I always tell everyone, right, there's nowhere perfect. There's nowhere perfect in the world. And Mexico's definitely not for everyone. But I think if you come with a specific mindset that makes you, I guess, allow yourself to be happy outside of your comfort zone, you're going to be golden. You're going to be golden here. And so I'm just going to give you an example. So dirt roads, right? I personally love dirt roads. I've always, I lived on a dirt road when I was growing up. I love dirt roads. It just brings home to me that, I don't know, you're living a little bit of a slower pace and you're not you're not in the U.S. But some people from the U.S. or Canada really don't like dirt roads, right? And they're always complaining about the dust and the bumpiness. That's fine. Then I think Cabo, right? The Cabo area is maybe more
condos, Cabo, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's totally
maybe
fine,
more
right?
your speed.
More your speed, absolutely. But if you're okay with the slower pace and you're okay with dirt roads and kind of that lifestyle, then La Paz, and especially in Centenario, where we live, much more, potentially your speed. We live on a dirt road on our beach house, and we absolutely love it. It slows down traffic. Yeah, there's dust. It's fine, right? You just got to live with it. So anyway, that's just an example of the mindset that helps you be happy here.
Yeah, definitely. If you're willing to really adopt the Mexican mindset, La Paz will be wonderful for you. If you're just looking for the United States but cheaper, then Cabo might be better for you. So we're wrapping up our suites here and we're ready to hit the road again. Next stop, La Garita. So the second stop along the road here is a garita, and this is Garita El Chipita, Garita de Chilpa. And what these are, there's two of them across the street from each other. We are on the one on the left, which is Garita de Chilpa. Chilpa is a friend of the builder that you're going to see later on. The houses that he built, Carlos built those houses. I have other videos with Carlos. But friend of his, so this is the one we always stop at, is over on this side of the road. It's just a great place to grab lunch. I think they close around 3:30, so it's not a great place to grab dinner, but it is a wonderful place for lunch. So those of you who've watched the channel before know that Kat and I live in a palapa house, which is a house that has a roof like this with palm fronds on the roof. But there's so many different styles out there, so many different options in terms of housing, and houses can be very similar between Cabo and La Paz. You can get palapa houses in Cabo, you can get them in La Paz. You can get kind of more concrete houses are much more common down here in Baja California Sur. So you can find those in both La Paz and in Cabo. But I guess the question I have for you is, what is it that you're looking for in a house? Not only a house, but also a community. So I'd love to hear from you. Leave those comments down below. I love reading the comments and I love replying to the comments. So I would love to hear from you what you're looking for. And 5 seconds later,
Very spicy.
so it's very traditional Mexican cuisine. Lots of Mexican folks here in the restaurant.
Oh my God, this is so good. I ordered this just to be adventurous. It's called Atole, and it's like almost like a, I don't know, a oatmeal, very light, but it's for drinking, and it is freaking delicious. I think it might have like corn masa in it. I don't know what, but I'm getting this from now on. It is so good.
I got some burritos here, and they're actually bigger than I expected. A lot of times burritos in Mexico are really pretty skinny, so these are pretty big. Next stop is Esquina Deli, which is a little deli sandwich shop that is right outside of Jim's office. Jim is the realtor who's going to be showing us around Villas de Centenario this afternoon. Cheers. We are here at Esquina Deli, which is our final stop on our road trip. Esquina Deli is actually right around the corner from us. And I've got myself a matcha. Kat has a
Coconut water.
So this is a great place. This is kind of like my local coffee shop. I work here a lot in the afternoons.
So Esquina Deli is such a gem. I love it. The food here is amazing. The coffee is great. They have specialty groceries. Right out front is one of the hottest restaurants in La Paz right now. It's called Fumo. It's this great Italian restaurant. There's been a lot of new restaurants and new things happening in Centenario, very close to Baja Life Realty's office. And so enjoy.
Yes, great salads, great sandwiches, and great smoothies, matchas, acai bowls, all that kind of stuff. You can find that all here at Esquina Deli. So Kat is actually heading out now, and I am going to continue on this journey with Baja Life Realty, and make sure that if you do buy one of these houses, that you tell them that I'm the one who sent you, because they're going to owe me an awful lot of margaritas. Jim!
Hey, Brendan, how you doing?
Doing great.
Come on in.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was your trip?
Trip was wonderful. So let's sit down, and I'll introduce you to the audience here. So this is Jim McDonald, and he's the person who sold us our house. We started out right here in this office, and he took us just down the street to the first house that he showed us was the one we bought. So Jim is great at knowing exactly what you're looking for. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to have Jim talk to you. And let's start out with having Jim tell you his story, and then we're going to work our way down to showing you the places and whatnot. So let's hear first that story of how he ended up here in El Centenario.
I met my wife in Tucson, Arizona, and she really, really loves the desert climate, but I really wanted ocean. And so we kept exploring down the coast of California and down into Mexico, and we found Cabo San Lucas, and that seemed to have both of them. So win-win. However, it was a little too touristy for us. We really wanted to find more of a traditional Mexican city, and all the locals kept saying, go to La Paz, go to La Paz. The best beaches, best people, really friendly, and a lot cheaper. So off we went. We came and looked at a house or two or three. We ended up buying the first house that we saw, just like you. And eventually we ended up working for the realtor who sold us our first place. And we enjoyed it so much that we went into a business for ourselves. Now we're helping other people to find that little piece of the Baja dream that we found ourselves.
Well, part of Jim's Baja dream, which isn't quite part of my dream, is building houses for additional people. So let's hear a little bit how he went from having his own house to building a new house to building more houses.
When we first got here, we moved into a gated community called Haciendas Palo Verde, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about today. And we were introduced to a builder who helped us put a garage on that property. And his name is Carlos, and he has a company named Baja Custom Homes. Well, one thing led to another, and we ended up partnering with him to build a small community of 12 homes called Vista Colinas. It was very close to where we lived. Very successful, we ended up selling out the entire community. And so we ended up going into business with him again, this time on a community of 46 homes. It's a little bit more intimidating, but so far we've sold almost 50% of them. So we're off to the races, and it's one of the properties we're going to show you today. So here we are at Casa Tesoro. This is one of the 6 different floor plans that the builder can build for you in this community. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. It has a pool and a garage and a really nice view, and it's on a rather large lot. So let's take a look inside.
Let's hop in. Ooh, I love the view to start out. I'm going straight through. Sorry, the house is beautiful. Sorry, Carlos, you built something beautiful, but I'm going for the view first. Look at this, and a gorgeous pool. But you can see here, I'm going to zoom in real quick so you can kind of see what we're looking at, is La Paz, the Bay of La Paz, and across to the city of La Paz. I'm sure the view at night, this is kind of the view that Kat and I have from our house. We're on the beach down there though. So yeah, I know it's gorgeous.
Especially when the full moon comes up.
Oh yes, full moon always comes. There's the moon now. But when it's full, it comes right over those mountains.
Yes. We're inside the Casa Tesoro, and as you can see, there's lots of open area. It's all about inside and outside living. So keeping the sliding doors open so you can go in and out, back in the pool, back inside for something to eat, back inside for a nap, and then do it all over again. This house has a master suite on one side and then the guest bedroom on the other side, so you have some level of separation. Let's take a look at one of the bedrooms. The bedrooms are a good size. This is a king bed, so there's plenty of room for all of your stuff. It flows through to a nice size custom closet that's built with alder hardwood, so that has a really nice finish. And then in the bathroom, since this is the master suite, we have double vanities in the owner's suite, as well as a really nice tiled in, huge shower.
Cool. Let's walk across.
Okay. Over here is a walk-in laundry. We've set up with a washer, dryer, and a utility sink, and plenty of extra space to put, build a pantry or, keep anything else that you want stored in there. Okay. This is the guest suite, also a good size, and you'll see, since it doesn't have a separate closet, the builder puts all the door fronts on these closets so that you don't have to look at all your clothes. So it's nice and neatly arranged.
Cool.
And then there's one other bathroom here, and this is to be used for the guest, as well as a bathroom for if you're having a party, nobody has to go through someone's bedroom to investigate it.
So yeah, lots of people here getting either 2-bedroom homes or homes with casitas, because when you live in paradise, everyone wants to come visit. So definitely plan on having lots of visitors, and this is a great design with having a little bit of space separation. We have a separate casita, which is really nice because that gives our guests kind of their own space that's just a little bit more separated from us. We just had some guests who were here for a week, and they were super independent, kind of staying out there. We were working during the day. They were actually working too, so they were working remotely. So a nice little working vacation. But it's good to have a spot for those guests when they come, because they're definitely coming. But let's hear more about this house and more about kind of the construction here. This one in particular is available right now as we're shooting this, so you could purchase this with all the furniture and whatnot. We'll get into pricing in a bit, but let's hear a little bit more about the construction process here, because Jim did mention there were 5 or 6 different model homes, and so let's hear more about how that works here.
So there are a total of 6 floor plans. This is the second smallest, but it's still a really good size. They all have 10-foot ceilings, so enhancing that open air capability. They all come with a stainless appliance package, granite countertops, hardwood custom cabinets. Every room has an air conditioning unit and a ceiling fan, and all of that is included in the base price of the home. So he's building a complete home. Some houses that you purchase from Mexican builders, you'll have to put your own AC units in. He'll prep for them, but you have to install them yourself. And so when we have Americans and Canadians coming down here, their expectation is the house is going to be fully functional as soon as it's done. And that is, in fact, the case here.
Jim makes a great point there. Often, like with this house, you'll be able to buy a house that is completely furnished and everything down to the silverware in the drawers and whatnot. But other things, I've heard of bathrooms coming without mirrors, or showers without like shower stalls. Dishwashers, I see there's a dishwasher here. That's something that's not that common. So these are definitely being built for that kind of US and Canada market, for what people have come to expect or come to just be their standard of living. And they want to have something similar here in Mexico.
So here we are on the covered patio, which is a really nice thing because we get some intense days of sun here in the summer, and having shade is a really good idea. So you can see this is a concrete covered patio. So if we do get rain, which isn't very often, you'll be nice and sheltered from it. But mostly this is about sun, and we're here in the early afternoon and we already have plenty of shade, so I could sit out here and enjoy that beautiful view all afternoon. A couple other things about the houses that Carlos has built. This is a natural stone called Cantera, and so he does the surround of all the doors and the windows with this Cantera stone. It comes from Guadalajara, and it's got a lot of character, and it adds a really nice, touch to the construction. The other thing that he does is he includes a concrete stairway to the rooftop, which is a whole other space that we're going to have to show you because the views from up there are spectacular.
Yeah, so let's head up to that rooftop now. We're starting to show you the views here. Actually, we'll show you the view from the rooftop, but we can definitely see across more of the bay, and also Los de Centenario, which is a neighborhood that's a little more established here. Let's get up to the top of this roof.
So we're up here on the rooftop, and the owner has set this up pretty nicely. He put a fire pit here so that you can enjoy the sunsets, and if it's a little bit chilly, you can have a nice fire. He has an outdoor kitchen with barbecue, and you can see that there's this lovely shade pergola here so that even if the sun is pretty warm, you can still have a little bit of refuge from it. And again, the views are 360 degrees from up top here.
Yeah, the views up here are amazing. I just love that you can see so much of the water, the inner bay. You can even see out to the outer bay. In El Centenario, we always talk about the hills of El Centenario. When you're down by the water, you don't really even see them. Even if you go through on the highway, people can't see this. But there's just enough elevation where you're sitting, just above the house in front of you, where everybody's got great views. And these are also offset in such a way that from the ground floor, you've got great views. So that's really a lot of why people come out to live in these areas, is because the views are so inspirational. So it's definitely something you got to check out. The video doesn't really do it justice. So that is wrapping up Casa Tesoro, but we've got a lot more to show you in this video. We're looking at another model. We've got an interview with Matthew coming up. Matthew's been on the channel before, and he's going to show us his home here. So we've got a couple more homes, and we're also going to talk about homeowners associations versus not homeowners associations. So lots more to come. So this is exciting because home number 2 is still under construction and currently, like, the guys are here working. So you're going to get to see what it looks like in progress. This is a different model. So let's have Jim tell us about this one.
So welcome to Casa Cardone. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool on a 900 square meter lot, almost a quarter acre. And it's built by the same builder, Baja Custom Homes, but it's just outside of the gated community. The fence is literally right there next door.
So I want to talk more about this house, but I do want to talk about the difference between living inside a homeowners association and living without one. So Jim has lived in both himself, and we've only lived without a homeowners association. And Matthew's going to talk a little bit about that too, because he's currently living here in Villas de Centenario, but let's get Jim's take on it.
Homeowners associations are nice for people who maybe aren't going to be spending the whole year here. And there are quite a few people that just want to come down here to escape the winter cold, and then they want to go back to places like Oregon where it's nice and sunny in the summer. And in that case, being inside of an HOA with a completely fenced community offers a little bit of an extra layer of security, so they can be comfortable just locking up their house and going, knowing that there's security personnel to keep an eye on it. Now, that doesn't mean that it's unsafe outside of a gated community. It's just that you're going to need to probably put a fence or a wall around it and install some cameras and just do the same kind of things that you would do in any other part of the world. inside of an HOA does have some restrictions on what you can and can't do, which some people may not like, but it also means that no one can paint their house a deep purple or a lime green right in front of you. So it also helps keep some of the values a little bit higher. But Baja and the freedom of living in Mexico means that there are less rules, and some people would just rather not have anybody restricting what they can do. And so out here you can do whatever you want. You can paint your house whatever color you want. You can build up to 2 levels without special permission, and you don't have to worry about anybody complaining about anything you do because that's your property. So there are different clients that like different things, and I think some fit really well in the HOA, and some prefer just being on a general street where you can come and go as you please and not have to check in with security. The one other thing that an HOA does come with is annual fees, and so that's something you have to consider. Inside of Villas del Centenario, they're just over $100 a month for the whole year per homeowner, so it's not really that expensive, but if you're trying to retire on a limited budget, that may be something that you want to think about.
There are the restrictions, but it also comes with a few amenities that Jim hasn't listed yet. So let's hear about what more comes with living in the Villas de Centenario inside the Homeowners Association part.
The road inside of the gated community is fully paved, and that's nice. It cuts down on some of the dust inside the houses. There is a clubhouse that we're going to put a small gym in, and there's going to be 2 pickleball courts. So there are some additional benefits for living inside of that gated community, places that you can hang out with all your friends. You can have a barbecue party down there with all your neighbors, etc. Out here, you can invite them over to your house, but or you have to know somebody who invites you in to play pickleball.
Of course, you can play pickleball at San Juan. That is one of the great things about El Centenario is they have a pickleball club with, I think now 13 courts. It is just a really wonderful thing here. It's not associated with any community, so you just pay a fee for a year or a month or a week or a day. Pickleball is big. It is great to have pickleball where you live, but it's also great to have a huge pickleball club like that here in El Centenario. So we just hopped up on the porch here. So Jim's going to tell us a little bit more about what these guys behind us are doing, and a little bit more about the features and the differences between these homes, because the homes out here are a little bit less expensive than the homes over that we just saw.
Okay, so things that are the same. All the floors inside are going to be capped with ceramic tile, just like inside the gated community. You can't see it yet, but there will be custom cabinets, granite counters, and stainless appliances just like the other house. It'll have air conditioning units just like the other one. It will only be prepped for ceiling fans. You'd have to install them yourself. On the patio, this also has a nice concrete covered roof for shade and waterproofing if we do get water. Some of the things that are a little different, I mentioned Cantera stone on the other house. This is going to be just a stucco trim painted in a different color to add a little bit of pop, but this is going to be a little less expensive than the Cantera. The patio outside will be stamped concrete versus ceramic tile, so that was a little bit of a cost savings as well, and that allows us to price this house a little bit lower. The pool is largely going to be the same. It'll have a little different internal structure. It's going to look kind of like PebbleTech. It's called a washed sand finish, and it looks real nice, but it is a little bit less expensive than putting the mosaic tile around the entire pool. And so those are some of the differences in the houses that allow us to price this house a little bit under what a similar house would look like inside that gated community.
So these guys are putting the yeso or the plaster finish on the ceiling, and this is something that I kind of wish I did. We did a drywall ceiling in my office because, if you guys know, our house is all a palm thatch roof, and we needed one room to be kind of sound isolated from the rest. And I really wish that I had done a real concrete ceiling. And it's like one of the things a number of people A lot of people down here don't get homeowners insurance because these homes are like indestructible. Of course, the glass might break if there's a hurricane, but these things are concrete. So many of the homes down here are really built to withstand everything. So it's something, you know, that I wish we would have done. If I had to do it over, I would have put concrete ceilings in the house. Once again, an amazing view from the roof. Just gorgeous view. Once again, these videos just never do justice to the view from up here, just the way you can see things. Let me just try to zoom in and see. This is a little more like what you see just up here with your naked eyes. So that looks like we'll have a pergola structure up top here, right, Jim?
Yes. When we talk about utilities, some things are a little bit different here. So we are all connected to the municipal water supply. However, every house has a cistern, which is a big plastic container for the water, and that's where the municipal water supply gets delivered to. And then every house has a pump that maintains water pressure inside the house, regardless of whether there's pressurized pipes coming from the municipality, because we only usually get water every other day. So that's how it works. Now, out here, these are going to be 5,000 liter cisterns. Inside the gated community, there'll be 10,000, so twice as much storage. That's important. Also, we don't have underground natural gas, so all houses that want to use gas use propane. And so there's going to be a propane tank on the roof, usually about 300 liters. You get that filled every few months, and that powers your barbecue, your water heater, and your gas stove.
What about sewer?
Oh yeah. So up in the hills, when you have up and down hills, it's not really conducive to connecting to a sewer line. They work better when it all goes downhill. So all of these houses are going to have a septic system. So it'll have a biodigester for all the solids, and then all your showers, sinks, washing machine goes to an absorption well, which is a second tank. And they work really well, and if you treat it nicely, it'll treat you nicely and not require a lot of maintenance. So we're standing in front of the model home, and this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. We call it the Coromwell. That's the name of the floor plan. The first one that we saw was the Tesoro, and yes, they're named after lovely, beautiful beaches here in La Paz. We also have the Balandra, which is the largest of the 2-bedrooms, and then we have a Tecolote, Magote, and then the smallest one that we have is the Coyote.
So I know all those beaches except for Coyote, and so Jim's going to have to reveal where that probably pretty tiny beach is. But before Jim and I walk down to some of the amenities here, let's go and meet Matthew up at his house. He lives just up the hill from here, and we'll also cover the pricing while we're talking with Matthew. So here we are inside Matthew's house now, and you've met Matthew before, potentially in a video of the house that he was in before. As they were building this house, he owned another house not too far from here, so I'll have a link to that video up in one of the corners here so you can check that out. But let's hear about Matthew's house here. This is the Magote model, and he's done a lot of customizations to it because he did buy before the construction started, so he got a chance to really customize it. And also we'll hear about his choosing La Paz. Why La Paz? Why Mexico? Then we're going to go back with Jim and wrap up the video.
We bought this house pre-construction when it was just a big hill in a field. Nothing was here yet. I'd come down to Mexico for the first time and went to Todos Santos to check it out there, and then I came to La Paz for a week, toured some schools for our daughter, and Ian, our agent, brought us up to this hill. We wandered around this hill for a couple of hours, and the view is amazing, and it was pretty easy to fall in love with it. It's super quiet up here, and very, very serene and peaceful. The house is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in the main house, and then there's a full casita, which is like a mother-in-law studio with a kitchenette and a full bathroom as well. We did a lot of customization. The design is beautiful to start off with. Carlos does an amazing job. And I should say it was my wife that did all the customization. I had nothing to do with it. You know, we did rounded corners and we did these beams overhead. There's a brick wall, and then the master bedroom has a stone wall and various other things. The reason why we picked La Paz when we were deciding to leave the States was Deb's dad had lived in Mexico as a snowbird for about 15 years, so she was very familiar with it. I had never been here, had no desire to come here. It was full of all the U.S. news stories, and she talked me into coming down for a visit. And so I came down, and almost instantly after leaving Cabo, fell in love. The drive from Cabo to Todos Santos is some of the most picturesque drive you can have. Todos Santos is a very, very charming little town. And then I came to La Paz and had some really positive, great experiences with the people, which, you know, are super nice and amazing. I liked this pace, I liked the style. And we ultimately chose La Paz over Todos Santos because the schools, you know, this was during the pandemic when we moved down. There wasn't a lot of schooling available in Todos Santos at the time. The schools here seemed to kind of fit what we needed a little better. We really liked that it was the state capital. It's a lot of families here. This isn't Cabo where it's a party town and it's a lot of tourism coming through every day. This was just more of a family, relaxed atmosphere, and we definitely felt more comfortable with that.
Yeah, there's that theme again, this family feel that you get from La Paz, and really this tranquil. I mean, just the view out here as we're talking, the view is just like, it just slows you down. It's just so much different than Cabo, which kind of speeds you up a little bit, I guess. So let's hear about living in a homeowners association, in particular here in Villas de Centenario.
I wouldn't have said my first choice would have been to move to a homeowners association neighborhood. But being completely unfamiliar with Mexico and not really knowing La Paz at this point, initially we felt more comfortable with that. And what I've found, there's a few benefits definitely to being here at Villas for sure. One, there's a pool of resources here of people that have been in Mexico for a long time. And there is a learning curve to be here and function comfortably. And to have those resources with your neighbors is excellent. If you're someone who's only down here part of the year, it's definitely great for you to have your home in a situation like this, because you know that everybody's watching out and everybody's keeping an eye on it and making sure, you know, while there isn't a lot of crime, I would say, in La Paz, and there's no violent crime that I'm aware of, there is, you know, burglaries and things just like any other city of this size. And with being here, that's not something we worry about as much. And if I was leaving for 6 months, it would definitely make me feel a lot more comfortable. One of the other things that I do like about the HOA is it definitely protects your property values. If you want to move to Mexico and have a brightly colored Mexican style colored house, you can absolutely do that, just not probably in an HOA. Pink houses and teal houses, they're all over the place, so you'll definitely see that. Here, there's a certain style and aesthetic that you decide that you like, and the neighborhood stays that way. And so protecting your property value, if that's important to you, that's a side benefit of being in the HOA. The people that we've met here have been great. We just actually had our first HOA meeting not too long ago, and it went really, really well. You know, you hear a lot of horror stories about HOAs, and thus far, I'm very, very happy. It doesn't hurt that my wife got elected president of the HOA, and she's great. But so far, so good. You know, everybody's been working together really well, and I think, you know, everybody wants to move in the same direction. It's very relaxed. You know, that's one of the things about moving to Mexico. If you don't relax, you probably won't last long here, because everything is very relaxed, and that's the way we like it.
So in Mexico, one of the things you have to watch out for is that there's not a lot of zoning. So if you are in a neighborhood just like mine, across the street from us is now a new truck stop that's going in. So it's not like the United States where everything is like single family housing, or multifamily housing, or commercial. It all can be mixed together. And that's one thing a homeowners association can prevent, essentially, is to make sure that your neighbors are going to be in a very similar use to you. So let's hear a little bit more about the neighborhood.
So there's a lot of things that we love about living here. And number one, we love our house. By far my favorite house that I've ever lived in. It's so quiet and so peaceful. And the stars are really, really bright. The sunrises are amazing every morning. Sunsets are amazing every night. Our neighbors are great. It's sort of a mixed group of people from all kind of different walks of life. It's not Stepford wives, which I appreciate. The thing that I would say is if you're at all interested in moving to Mexico, and if you're all interested in the things you saw in this video, I would move on it now because land prices are going up. The housing prices are going up. You can still get in early. This is not Cabo. You're at least paying half of the Cabo price, if not more, for more land and more privacy and a quieter, more peaceful area. But they are starting to rise. So, I know here at Villas, you can get in probably 350 or 400, and that can go all the way up to 8. So, yeah, do it while you can.
Well, thank you, Matt, for sharing all of that with us. And now the big reveal, the sharing of the prices. So I want to go through a couple of the houses that we looked at today. So the first one was the one that was completely furnished and is currently on the market. You could pick that up for $429,000 right now, the way it is. And if you want a new one, you could pick that up for $400,000. So if you want to pick out your lot and build the house there, $400,000. The next house we looked at was the one that was under construction, Casa Cardone. So when that one was pre-construction, so right when it was coming out of the ground and some of the beginning part of the construction process, you could pick that up for $349,000. At the point that it currently is, which is the roof is on, it's $369,000, and when it's really close to completed construction, it's going to be $390,000. So the sooner you get in terms of the construction process, the less expensive it is. So definitely jump on that if that's something you're interested in now. They can also build that model inside the Homeowners Association if that's something you're interested in. It'll be a little more expensive because we're looking at the upgrades that come inside the Homeowners Association fence. So the Magote, which is the one we're sitting in right now, is $650,000, and all these prices include the land. You could also upgrade with a garage, and a casita is $120,000 additional on top of that. Now, Matthew bought his house about 3.5 years ago, pre-construction, so his numbers are going to be a lot different than what we're seeing today. But I wanted to give you what you could do today if you wanted to build this house new. So now let's check out some of the amenities in the neighborhood. We're going to rejoin Jim and walk down near the front gate and see the amenities. On the way there, we're going to look at some of the other houses that are along the road. Okay, this is Tesoro, but painted white instead of that kind of off-white.
And you'll notice that it has a little bit of a different entrance. It has the little barrel tile roof versus having it faced in natural stone. For every house, we give you 2 choices so that they don't all look exactly the same.
Okay. So speaking of choices here, these are spec homes. So the builder's building them, and you get to make some choices on some of the small details. But Carlos is the builder, and he builds custom homes. I've got a video series with Carlos. I'll have that at the end of this one. You can check out Carlos's custom homes. But can you build a custom home here, or are you limited to the spec homes that Carlos is working on now?
Yes, absolutely. So in phase 1 and 2, we try to stay with the 6 standard floor plans. You can make adjustments to those, but you can't just rip it up entirely and redo it. Now in phase 3, which is all the way in the back, you can build whatever home you like. It comes with a few $1,000s of architectural work that he'll have to do to make sure it's structurally sound, but you can build exactly the home that you want on whatever lot that you want. So yes, we can build a custom home in here if you want.
So here we are just inside the gate, and you mentioned the gate. There will be a gatehouse. There'll be security in the gate right there. So yes. As of right now, while we're still under construction, there's not one there just yet.
We just had the first homeowners assembly in January, so we're currently in the process of interviewing security companies so that we can have somebody there during a good part of the day to start. We only have 22 homes out of a total of 46, so as the neighborhood starts to fill out, we can afford to pay a little bit more in terms of the security into later hours. But at the moment, there'll probably be someone there for a good portion of the day.
Okay, wonderful. And then we've got here the clubhouse, I guess is what you call it.
So this is the clubhouse. We're gonna outfit it with some gym equipment, an elliptical trainer, a bike, and a treadmill, and some free weights and mats for yoga. It'll also be used for all of our homeowners association meetings. It's large enough. It has a nice little barbecue set up here, and there is an administrator's office in here for the administrator that we are interviewing now that will be responsible for paying security, paying for landscape and maintenance, and keeping the accounts, etc. And then there are restrooms around the side, which is important because over here we're going to have 2 brand new pickleball courts. And we've laid down the asphalt, and we're just getting ready to tape out the courts and start applying the paint. And so that'll be pretty exciting, and we'll have a big grand opening party and a little pickleball lesson here.
Little pickleball. Sounds good. Always got to love the pickleball. Well, all videos must come to a close, and the best videos close on pickleball. So just a reminder, if you do decide to buy in Villas de Centenario, tell Jim that I sent you so that he can pay me back in margaritas. Also, I've got more videos for you to watch. One up here with Carlos about building custom homes. If you want to do a custom home, you can watch that video. And down here, I've got a video, it's about 4 years old, talking with Jim about El Centenario, so you can get an idea of what's been in the area for the last 4 years. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Hasta luego.